Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Edijester. Well, the good news just keeps pouring out of the screen. It really does. We seem to be having a number of wins, which I'm sure the LGBTQIA plus nutters will be absolutely furious. We've had golf, we've had SCOTUS, we've had chili, we've had all sorts of good news lately about what's going on. But this is particularly glorious. I capitulate to straighttimes.com, who've supplied me with this most wonderful piece of news, considering this person. Helen Webberly, Helen Webberly, right? She of Gender GP fame, who's hiding out somewhere like a Bond villain, or if you prefer, a post-war Nazi. Now, that's naughty. I couldn't help myself. If you look down in the right-hand corner, of the screen, you'll see a little jester. Me, in other words. Give it a click. Subscribe. Keep me going. Other than that, you can join my Substack or buy me a coffee if you can. Anything you can do to help. Christmas is coming up. I'll have the begging bowl out. It has to be expected, though, isn't it? Comes as part of the deal now. So, Webberly here has got a problem. And it's the Minister of Health warns British teleconsultation service to stop providing puberty blockers to Singapore users. Singapore. Gender GP, a British business registered in Singapore that provides teleconsultation and puberty blockers, was warned by the Ministry of Health to stop the unlicensed provision of outpatient medical services to Singapore-based users. Puberty blockers are used to stop the body from making sex hormones and delay the changes of puberty in transgender and gender diverse people. Well, first thing, there's no such thing as transgender and gender diverse people. Puberty blockers are just trans in the gay way in most cases. In an email reply to questions by the Straits Times in April, the Ministry of Health said on December the 4th that as gender GPs telehealth services are not licensed under the Healthcare Services Act, that's the HCSA in Singapore, it is not allowed to provide healthcare services in Singapore. Oh, wibbly-wobbly, off you go. The end is coming, don't you know? The Ministry of Health found that gender GPs doctors based outside Singapore and not registered for practice here had obviously this is in Singapore, provided teleconsultation and issued a prescription to one person in Singapore. That was all it took, was it? One person. The ministry issued a letter. See, this is how you act. Singapore, well done. The ministry issued a letter of stern warning to Gender GP. Oi, Webberly, bugger off. On October the 22nd to stop the unlicensed provision of outpatient medical services from overseas to Singapore-based users. Failure to comply could mean a fine of up to $100,000, a jail term of up to 24 months, or both. Please don't comply, Helen. Don't comply. Ignore them. Because the Singaporeans, you know, they're well known for their weak justice. Are you joking? Go on. Break it, Webberly. Break it. Failure to comply, meaning a fine. The MOH said repeat offenders could be liable on conviction to a fine of up to $200,000 or a jail term not exceeding 24 months or both. There we go, see? Right? SPH Media Limited. Oh, that's... what's that about? Oh, that's an advert. Took me a moment. I also said that the Director of Gender GP, Dr. Helen Webberly, is not a registered medical practitioner with the Singapore Medical Council and therefore cannot practice in Singapore. Net closing. It is a bit like a Bond villain, isn't it? It's like a Bond villain, isn't it? From Wales. Was it in Wales? She used to be in Wales, didn't she? Where was she in Wales? Where my mate lives. Abergavenny. By the Blorange. That's where she was. Hiding out in Wales. Then they got her, so she moved. God knows where she is now. She's like Blofeld, isn't she? Or one of the other Bond villains, you know? Let's get her. Ugh, octopussy remover. Right, let's get her. Right, in July, Dr. Webberly, 55, lost her license in Britain after a decision by its medical regulator, the General Medical Council. Yeah, I think they had to be led screaming and kicking to doing that, didn't they? The Minister of Health said, foreign doctors applying for medical registration in Singapore must be in a good standing with the jurisdiction where they were registered in practice. They must arrange for a certificate of good standing to be sent to SMC directly by the professional authority in that jurisdiction before their application for a practice certificate will be processed. It added, registered medical practitioners must inform the SMC if they are subject to disciplinary inquiry by professional authorities in other jurisdictions. In other words, doesn't matter where you hide in the world, Helen, they're going to get you. It is an offence under the Medical Registration Act for a person to practice medicine unless he or she is registered under the MRA and has a valid practicing certificate. The Straits Times found out from the Accounting and Corporate Regulatory Authority records in April that Gender GP was registered under the name Helen Webberly as a company with an office located at 160 Robinson Road. This followed a report in British newspapers, the Daily Mail, on April the 12th, that said that Dr. Webberly's business, which boasted of helping anyone, however old they are, was registered in Singapore. See, it's a scam. It was always a scam. It had advertised its £270, or in Singaporean dollars, $460, puberty blocking injections online, despite campaigners calling for an urgent crackdown on such cowboy clinics, said the report. It is a cowboy. They are cowboys, aren't they? Just bloody cowboys. For a few dollars more, eh, Helen? The good, the bad, and the fugly. Right. The report also stated that children could no longer get the drugs on the National Health Service after a landmark ruling in March, which meant they would have to go private to get them. When approached by Straits Times, a General Medical Council spokeswoman said on April the 30th that sanctions on a doctor's registration are applicable only in Britain, and it is for individual regulators in other countries to determine whether the action taken in the UK has an impact on a practitioner's registration overseas. That's a bit odd, isn't it? Now, that may be legal. There may be a reason why they can't say, okay, this is worldwide. That may be legal. I'd like to know, though, is there a doctor in the house? Come and tell me. When a doctor receives a fitness to practice sanction, which restricts their registration in the UK, we will notify any other regulator that we know they are registered with, or the regulator of a country that we know they have a connection with. So, in other words, they'll tell other countries. This connection could be where the doctor's qualified or where their address is located based on our record, she said. We will also provide information on request to oversee regulators through a certificate of current professional standing. This confirms whether the doctor is entitled to practice medicine and whether they have been suspended, disqualified, or prohibited. Straits Times tried to reach Dr. Webberly through the Gender GP website in June, but she did not respond. Colour me surprised. Dr. Webberly lost her licence in July following a decision by GMC after it emerged that she did not comply with a legal obligation to renew her licence. However, the decision does not stop her from leading Gender GP. Gender GP marketed itself as providing fast, easy, and compassionate gender-affirming care. Oh my God. Charging hundreds of pounds for access to puberty blockers. The firm came under fire in the British courts earlier in 2024 after giving a dangerously high amount of hormones to a 16-year-old, an accusation Dr. Webberly slammed as untrue. As Gender GP's telehealth service are not licensed under the HCSA in Singapore, consumers are strongly advised against using its service, as there is no assurance that Gender GP's services are safe and effective. Gender GP's prescriptions by doctors based outside Singapore are also not recognised here. Where's she going to go next? Panama? Patients in Singapore seeking medical consultation and treatment should consult medical practitioners registered with SMC to ensure that they receive safe and quality care. It is also clinically unsafe and inappropriate for people in Singapore to seek telehealth services from Gender GP without any prior medical examination, clinical evaluation, or blood tests, said the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health has referred the case to the Infocom Media Development Authority, which has since disabled access to the Gender GP website for users in Singapore because of public health risks. Helen! Have that! Vile woman. And just so you know, there's a Black Friday cyber sale on somewhere in Singapore on Monday. Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. Ignore me. I just noticed that little bit at the end. Right? So I think this is good news. I think we should celebrate it. I think that considering that they block various websites for other things, there's no reason why we can't block her. But that's just me. It isn't, is it? Because it's loads of you too. You know what this person is. You know exactly what she's done, and you know exactly what she's capable of, and there's no reason whatsoever for her services to exist. I shall see you later. Let's keep going. Keep scrapping, because goodness me, the good news keeps coming. You have a lovely Sunday. Is it Sunday? I think so. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.